Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shining Lights, the show where we put a spotlight on people who are making a big difference in their community. Today, I am beyond thrilled to welcome my second guest for this show. She is a woman that should need no introduction, but I'm going to give her one anyway. Um, when I think of uh, the most important people that I've met this year, she is at the top of the list. Her name is Melo Garcia. She is the creator of After Chloe, and I will let her tell you a little bit more about it because it'll be better than I ever could. Hello, Melo.
Hi, Ben. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely.
Um, so, can you tell us a little bit about what After Chloe is?
Oh gosh. In 2010, my dad died very suddenly, like from one day to the next. I got a call from my mom. He had had a cardiac aneurysm, which basically blood clot went to his heart, had a heart attack, and he passed away in the bathroom. And so my mom was left, and she had congestive heart failure, and it worsened. They'd been married 3 days short of 43 years. He died on June the 27th. Their wedding anniversary was June 30th. So she immediately went into the hospital. They're like, she needs open heart surgery. And so immediately my life was kind of thrown into disarray. And prior to that, me and Chloe's dad had really struggled with being able to get pregnant. He had 4 children from another marriage. So there was pressure there. We were looking at fertility treatments, and we were actually in the phase of getting assessed for fertility treatments. And he died June 27th. On, I believe it was July 8th. I don't want to get that wrong, but I think it was July 8th. I found out that I was pregnant. And so I ended up being pregnant with Chloe, my only child. And I was ecstatic, but there was still that pressure of my dad having died, my mom needing long term care. And so I got really stressed out. They put me on bed rest, and I ended up having Chloe preterm. She was due in April. I had her in December at 24 weeks gestation to the day. So once I had her, she lived for 57 days. And then she passed away February 22nd, 2011. And when she passed away, I obviously was beside myself. It was impossible. I felt hysterical, but I felt frozen. The hospital was sending me, condolence cards, and I didn't feel like I had the support or what I wanted from my grief journey. Everybody kept telling me about these 5 stages, and I knew that it wasn't limited to 5 stages. I knew that it was so much more. And so I kind of devoured anything I could find on grief and loss because I always have to kind of understand. And what I found is that it was not giving me what I felt like I needed. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that felt like. But when you feel like you're going to see something and that's what you want, I kept feeling that with grief and loss. And so I went to 14 different therapists. At the time, the BetterHelps and the various apps were not out yet. So I went to 14 different therapists, and none of them spoke grief. And I had a background in mental health. And so I decided I'm going to go back and become a therapist and really try to speak grief to people. I don't want to do marriage and family counseling. I don't want to, all I want to do is center on grief. So by that time, it was 2012, and my mom ended up passing away later that year, October 2012. So my mom, my baby, and my dad all passed away. And me and Chloe's dad, we separated, and that was really hard and difficult because I felt so alone in the world. And I didn't have a support system. I didn't know what to look for. So I really got serious with just studying grief and loss and finding what worked for me and for others, and really like understanding that every single person processes grief differently. And so that long story to tell you that in 2014, I met a man by the name of Michael Gebbin, videographer for Tony Robbins and Richard Branson and all those guys. And I said, I know that I want to do something. I know that the name is supposed to be after Chloe, but does it look like a nonprofit? Is it bad to start a business? Like, I don't know what to do. And he says, you just need to start. Pick a social media platform, get on there. And I really liked Periscope at the time, and I really liked Instagram. And I think where there was a pull for people to me is that I've just always been really authentic. I've had a really tough month, and I'm very honest about that. Like, just because I speak about grief and loss and I want to guide you through your grief journey doesn't mean that I'm not grieving, and doesn't mean that I don't feel that um, at my level. So I think that I can be more empathetic at your level when you're grieving. And so after Chloe was born, I got on Periscope and got on Instagram, and I want to say the rest is history, but it's definitely been an involvement. And so basically, I want to assist you through your grief and journey loss and whatever that looks like. I think the biggest thing is validation and people understanding that they are allowed to grieve their way. And that may not be grieving at all. That may be like, I'm going on with my normal life as much best as I can. I cry 5 minutes in the shower. Some people are like, I haven't gotten out of bed for 10 days. And both of those scenarios are okay. It's okay for you to grieve your way. And so that's how After Chloe was started. And I guess I will remain until um I'm not needed anymore, I think. Yeah.
Uh, well, you know, when the stigma around, so something that we just first of all, your story, if I seem a little desensitized to this, I should say that I am your producer for your podcast, The Resilience of Grieving, which is an amazing show. Unbiased opinion, it's an amazing show. You do amazing work speaking grief to others and helping others through. And so I've heard the story several times, and it's always powerful. And we just came from we just came through, October was Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. And I know that that month is a marathon for you, and it's incredibly emotionally draining. Um, and this show, Shining Lights, is about people who are doing great work in their communities. And sometimes that's local communities, and sometimes, like in your case, it's the community of grief and grieving parents, specifically when you go through Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. Um, what is that like? Because I know that the first day of October, when your first episode for the month for your series, and I don't remember how many there were, but there were like 15 or something episodes. It was a lot of just podcasts that you did, and I know that you had other events and stuff. Um, but I shared your first episode from the Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month series on my Instagram and my Facebook page, and just put it into context of how important I thought that it was. My mom was a twin that her sister was stillborn, and her mom, my grandmother, had 5 to 8 miscarriages. I'm not exactly sure, but a lot. My cousin, my aunt and uncle's house, their reclining next to their reclining chair in their living room while I was growing up was a picture of them in the hospital with their little girl that I never met, who died after a few days, named Angela. And I was like, these are all of these stories that I know of in my own immediate family. And the response that I got was kind of overwhelming to me, of people responding to your content and saying, like, thank God someone's out there talking about this, because it's so much more common than anyone realizes, and there's such a stigma. And a lot of these people didn't even know that Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month was a thing. And it's so, can you talk a little bit about the stigma of it, and the fact that it's such an underserved community.
You know, I think when anybody says dead baby or my baby died, instantly, I think that there's a plethora of emotions felt. Like, I think even the most disassociated human would still feel that little tug in their heart or in their tummy, those butterflies where something doesn't feel right. And so I think anything that makes anyone feel uncomfortable, it can appear that there's, negativity around that. I don't think it's negativity. I think that people don't know what to say or do. And I think when someone you love dies, it's already uncomfortable. But when we bring an innocent infant into the discussion, I think that all bets are off. Like, people don't know what to say, they don't know what to do. I think that it's easier to avoid or not talk about it. Um, I'll be honest, I go through different phases. My platform is not solely talking about infant and pregnancy loss. I don't think I could do that 24/7. It is very emotionally, physically, spiritually draining during pregnancy and infant loss awareness, because you get an idea just of how much infant mortality is still a problem in our country and so many other countries, and how it's kind of to deaf ears in terms of for us to make better choices towards getting health care and research aligned, so the infant mortality stops, miscarriage stops, we get more scientific data behind that. That's one side of it. The grief side of it is that I think I learned probably the second year in, because you can I and as you know, Ben, because you're behind the scenes with me, regularly, like, I'll burn out and then I'll have to take like a day or two back. I have to kind of rest, get off social media, and then come back in. And I do that for my mental health. And I used to like announce it and be like, listen, guys, I'm going to be off for now. I just really just do it when I need it. I pull out, I pull back in. And what I mean by that is that I cannot give somebody else oxygen if I don't have any to give anybody else. So that's a serious part of what I do, is that I'm constantly self-soothing, self-care, therapy groups. I do all the things I talk about doing because I have to maintain the ability to intake all that energy, all the energy of grief and loss. And so um I wish I could tell you like, oh, I've gotten used to it. I don't think I'll ever get used to talking about dead babies. I don't think I'll ever get used to the fact that my baby is there instead of here. And that's okay. I've really made peace with that. I'm not okay with it. I'll never be okay with it. I'll never stop mentioning her. I'm really lucky because after Chloe, when it was started, there was no one. There was really no one talking about what I wanted to talk about. And as time has gone on, I've really learned how to articulate and say what I want to say and own that and not apologize for it. And my content is purely for those who need support during their grief and their loss. And here's the thing, the the content that I provide, like, you could go back to my content from 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, now to 21, and that content is always going to be going in the same direction. Obviously, I've grown, and as my grief changes and weaves and bobs, I think I'm able to articulate and share things that I'm learning or that I've experienced or that my clients have experienced and I can talk on. But at the end of the day, I think that the core of understanding how to get through pregnancy and infant loss, the holidays, anything tough, is to really just understand, to allow yourself to feel it. I used to really try to like stuff in. I felt like being vulnerable on camera. I felt like talking to my community and crying and breaking down. I used to view that as a weakness. And what I really found is that gave me further intimacy to really be authentically who I'm meant to be. And that doesn't mean that I have all the answers, because you'll hear this grief expert. They're an expert. I don't want to be an expert in grief. I want to be an expert in helping you to find life after loss. how you grieve is going to get you there. So that's why the grief is so important. But I don't have that need or that desire to be like, well, I know this is the way you've got to do it, or I think that I know. Um, and so that's kind of how I make it through October. But yeah, there was like a whole like week, like, I think like from October 29th or 28th until like the 1st or 2nd of November, like I was off the grid. Yeah.
Um, and you should be off the grid. Like honestly, like the whole time I was like, I hope that you sleep a little bit because it's so mentally and emotionally draining and that just it is what it like literally we had a couple marathon days where we were recording several interviews about the subject and I was just listening. I didn't have to, and nobody could see me. Nobody could hear me. I was muted on the other side of the screen and I was like, this is exhausting just holding space for that. It's so um emotionally heavy, and I think that speaks to the significance of the work that you do also, because um imagine going through that alone, and you did which is why you do this work. But like, the and I think that's one of the most powerful things in the world is when someone takes a lot of hero origin stories. I think start with you know not not wanting other people to go through the horrific things that they did, and if they do, then not going through them alone. I think that's like I was doing a senior resource fair this morning for seniors and caregivers, and I texted the person who runs the event, and I said, every time I do one of these with you, I just think, man, I wish that I had this 5 years ago. And she said, yeah, but because of what you and I are doing right now, the people in this audience aren't going to have to say that in 5 years.
Mhm.
And I think that reminded me of what you do, and I was so happy that I was talking to you today, because the um the people that follow you on Instagram, that listen to the podcast, that go to the website, that interact with you, and the community that you have helped to grow and to destigmatize, they don't have to necessarily go through this alone, and that is the best gift anyone could give to someone in the situation, the unfortunate situation that you find yourself in. So I commend you so much for everything that you do. I am a huge fan of you, Melo. And I'm also a huge fan of Chloe's dad, who I would be remiss. This is usually like a 5 to 10 minute show. I'm so sorry I'm taking up a little bit more of your time today, but let's talk about Chloe's dad for a second.
Right.
Can you explain to everyone that he thinks he's TikTok famous?
He does. So we do reels on Instagram. He doesn't understand there's a difference. So he's done a couple of reels that have gone, I guess, viral, 40,000, 30,000 views. And so he got really excited. And then I don't know where we were at, but somebody recognized him as Chloe's dad. And so he was like, do you think I'm TikTok famous? And me wanting him to continue to do the reels, I said, yes, of course you're TikTok famous. So now every time someone comes with like Ben, or, because me and Ben are together, we record, I think on Fridays. I feel lost because we haven't been recording in like a month, but we record, I think on Friday. So I'll be like, Ben, Chloe's dad's coming in. Make sure you say, I saw you on TikTok. So, and he sees them on reels, like he's on Instagram. I just haven't transferred them over because a lot of them are brands, but I can't transfer them over to TikTok. But I am going to make him a TikTok this week.
Oh, good, 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 good.
Mm.
I think the first thing that you should do when you put him on TikTok is show him that I am TikTok famous,
Okay.
and then I think that he'll have something to live up to.
Yes. Yes.
Only show him the one video of mine, though.
Okay. You
Only
would
show him the cat. the one calendar video. None of the other videos are impressive. They have like 3 views, but that one that has over 400,000, show him that one.
I will. I'll show him. I'll
But
definitely show him.
only because then he'll have something to live up to, and he's gonna blow through it because the two of you together, uh, making those reels and uh, making people smile, even in the face of this is wonderful, and that's what a lot of those reels are, and that's why so many people love them, and your authenticity is why so many people gravitate towards you. So I couldn't be a bigger fan. One of the things that I have put into my vocabulary since the day you and I met is the idea of what you do with the love that remains.
Mhm.
It's something that you say constantly. It's something that I have taken and now say as well, because for me, you and I met on Instagram,
February.
through a networking post,
Mhm.
and uh, my mom had just died. My dad had just died within 3 months of each other. I was having a ton of anxiety at that moment, um, and that's when you and I started working together. And the first couple of months that we were working together were months that I was having pretty bad anxiety attacks and pretty big bouts of grief. And the fact that not only were you a person that I could work with, um, but just a friend that I could talk to meant the world. And I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done for me, and everything that you've done for everybody who loves you and follows you. And I cannot sing your praises enough. Everybody, please go follow at After Chloe everywhere that you can follow things. And soon TikTok,
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
or
we'll
at
be.
Chloe's dad on TikTok.
Yeah, Chloe's
Just
dad.
him,
Yeah,
just him.
we have the username saved everywhere, like Chloe's dad. He just, sometimes it gets out of hand, and he'll be like, I want to start an OnlyFans. Like he asked me the other day, should we do an OnlyFans? And I'm like, for what? Are you crazy? After Chloe would be a really popular name there. I said, do you know what OnlyFans is? Let's go look at OnlyFans. So then after we looked at it, he was like, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I didn't know. So yeah, I think we'll leave the after close. I don't know. TikTok is not my jam. I mean, I love TikTok. I watch TikTok. I watch all your videos. I love TikTok, but yeah, that remains to be seen. But yes, everywhere else after Chloe.
Um, and
Not on OnlyFans.
no, he's
No.
he
Guys would have to meet him, because I know this sounds terrible, but he does not know. He doesn't know social media
he
at all.
doesn't. He's the sweetest man. He does
He
not
is.
know.
He is.
He I think that it's awesome. I think put him on TikTok, make him do solo TikToks, make him only follow like Charlie D'Amelio, and have him just do all of the dances. Only the dances. Make him learn the
Yeah.
dance every
Charlie's a
day.
professional dancer. Oh my goodness.
I know, and now so is Chloe's dad.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, knowing
So
him, he'll go viral. Yeah, he's the best,
if
but yeah.
if his entire content strategy was to follow every single dance that she did and then duet it and try to do it, he would go viral eventually. He
I know.
absolutely would, because it would be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's so funny. Like and he has a really hard time because obviously what I do, it's so serious and so heavy. So we really try to like do fun and light with the reels, and we get a lot of pushback because people get mad. But I really do it just because like grief is not a straight line. It's a zigzag. And so when you understand, like, I mean, we like laugh more. Like I think even with a podcast, like I mean, like if they heard us off recording or off camera, they would laugh because it's not sad in that sense. Like obviously the grand picture, like when you think about it, you're like, wow, her mom, her dad, and her baby all died. That's a lot, but we do really remain in the love that remains. And I think the biggest driver for me always forever be that I just want like my baby in heaven to be like, hey, those are my parents. That's my mom. And I think when you stay in that space, it doesn't really matter. And like I think with the reels, like we don't ever try to go viral, or we're just doing them because we're having
Exactly.
fun and enjoying ourselves. And so the rest is like gravy, I think. And so any branding social media person I've ever spoken to, I think they're always like, well, what is it about you? Like, why do people like follow you? Right? Why do they want to be your friend, or why are they in your community? And I'm like, because I think that they can really relate to what I say and how I feel. And I think that they're going, wow, it's somebody that's not saying you have a certain amount of time, or you have to get over it, or you shouldn't feel that way, or let us know if we can do anything for you. Like all the kind of automatic responses. And I'm like, this sucks. This is impossible. I'm throwing out F bombs. Like, and I think that that really resonates with people. But yeah, Chloe's dad, though, he cares about going viral. He wants to go, like,
He does.
anything less than
Yes.
25,000 views, he doesn't want it. He told me.
Grief can be very funny. It can be. It's not a straight line. It can be very. I yesterday. These are my parents' phones.
Right?
I did not turn these on. My mom died on Christmas. My dad died last August, August 29th, 2020. I did not turn these phones on until yesterday. And there were sad moments, like looking through the text messages, were very sad, but there were so many funny moments too. Like, I cannot tell you how many times my dad accidentally took a picture of himself while trying to make a phone call like this.
Mhm.
Um, or my mom thought that it was a really funny idea. I had no idea about this until yesterday. My mom like started vlogging a little bit in the nursing home to her. She
Mm.
doesn't know what that. She didn't know what that is, but she was like, "Hi, I'm Delma Barber. I'm in the nursing home, and they're very nice here." Click.
Oh,
Hi, I'm Delma Barber. Just over. Didn't send it to anybody. Didn't know. Like, and that's hilarious. And now I have those. But like, you know, the funny things happen if you're able to be open to them. And I think that you and Chloe's dad, but you're obviously the one doing the heavy lifting on all of the content, and this is your thing. You know, showing all sides of everything is so important, and that authenticity, and those are the types of things that are going to help break the stigma around grief in general, because everybody is very compassionate about grief for a bit. Um, and one of the first episodes that you ever did was after the condolences, and I think that you dedicated the episode to me, and I really appreciated that, and I needed it at that moment. But yeah, like, grief continues after the condolences,
oh
and
yeah. Like, I mean, because I think through COVID we had you had the service. So like, because like with Chloe's dad's sister, we had the service so far after
mhm,
they had passed away, and so you're already in a different part of your grieving. And then you've got to come back and you've got to go, I've got to write the obituary, I've got to make the arrangements, the flowers, all of that. And by then the condolences have already faded. Like, people forget. People are very resilient in terms of going back to living their normal lives. And for me, I used to be infuriated if like people were on vacation, or people were celebrating Valentine's Day, or people were living their normal lives, because how dare they after I've gone through so much. And when I understood that, and I was able to really own that, like, really, what can you do for me? What can blank blank do for me? Like, I have to own my grief and my loss, and it's mine, and whatever I do with it. And so I think that a lot of times society puts us on these like timelines. Okay, you're gonna, the person passed away, you're gonna have the funeral, you're gonna feel bad, and then you're gonna go back to, and there is nothing to go back to, because everything that you knew is no longer. And so for me personally, I think that that was a really hard like pill to swallow, that I couldn't swallow, is that everybody expected me to try again and have another baby. And I was like, my baby is not replaceable. I don't want to be anyone's mom. I want to be Chloe's mom. And when I understood that I could own that, but in a positive way, because I can't get bitter at people for living their lives. I can't be bitter at people that choose to have children after loss. I can't be bitter whatever anyone else does. I only have control of what I do. And that was a big pivotal point in my grief journey. And even with Chloe's dad, because as much as me and Chloe's dad are on the same page, he's human, he has his own feelings, he has his own processes. And we always say with after Chloe, like, I think that'd be the only fight in the divorce, because in all truth, that's what we have of the legacy of our daughter. So it is hard because there's sometimes that I want to be like, I want to put this on or that on. And he doesn't feel that way, or he's very, he's Catholic. I'm not Catholic. So there are things that we don't agree on. But I think that if you have a common respect for one another, and I had to learn how to respect his grief and his loss. And like, even with you, Ben, like me watching you, like, I want to fix it. I want to take care of you, like that. There's that small maternal part of me. But like, I'll see it and I just want to take care of you, or you're sick. You need to, like, why are you working? Like that maternal side of me. And then I'm like, you have to allow him his own grief process. And so I think after the condolences is when everything really starts. Because I think like in that first moment, like when people are like rubbing your back and open, are you okay, buddy? Oh my gosh, that's so awful. And you're getting like Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and all the good food at the doorstep, right? I say that because people don't want your casseroles, sister. They want you to buy out. They don't want your casseroles. They want you to buy food from somewhere. So that's the truth. I'm saying that on behalf of all grievers. Like, nobody wants your green bean casserole. Nobody eats it at Thanksgiving. Nobody wants it. I'm sorry. But so when you take, hopefully you'll take people take out, when you take those grieving takeout, I think after that meal's finished, that's all well and good. But like, keep on checking on them. Give them a plant 6 months later. Give them a Starbucks gift card. Again, don't cook for them because they don't want your food. They want takeout. And so when you do all of that, you'll realize, and like, how horrible does that sound, right? When I'm like, people don't want your home cooked food. They want takeout. And they don't like the way your green bean casserole tastes. That's a very honest statement, but most people would be afraid to make it. And so I'm just never afraid to say the truth about grief and loss. And it is impossible and it sucks. And like what happened to me, like I could be a Lifetime movie, but I'm not. Instead, I want to be knowing that I kept living and grieving after my loss of my parents and my child. I want my daughter to be proud of me. She may not be proud because I'm like talking about takeout instead of green, Aunt Stella's green bean casserole. But regardless, I think it's important that we all are aware that every single person is going to grieve differently. So all I can do is just show up for Ben, offer what I can, and say, take this if you want, leave it if you don't. But I have a whole other arsenal of people up my sleeve that can help you. Like there's so many amazing humans in the space of grief support. And so by all means, come, because it's just not all inclusive to me or Chloe's dad. It's definitely, if I don't feel like I can help you, I'll ship you right off and you'll go.
Yeah.
Because we don't do home cooking in my world.
Well, thank you so much, Melo. And absolutely, I couldn't agree more. When I have like, because everybody's focused on their own struggles anyway. Like my best friend lost his dad in 2019, halfway through 2019, and right now I'm like, you know there are days when I struggle with certain things, and I'm like, I don't understand why you guys are like callous about this, or you know what I mean, or like you don't care as much about it. But then there are days when like he struggles with stuff and I don't get it. And that's just what it is. When it's not your grief, it's not your grief, and you don't, and like, but we all got to be more compassionate.
And David Kessler, he's like kind of the godfather of grief. He wrote a book or books with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is the purveyor of the 5 stages of grief. Now, the 5 stages of grief were designed for hospice, not for death. They were really designed for somebody in hospice or hospice caretakers. But David Kessler is profound in when he says, your grief is always going to be the most important grief, because there's no way to articulate how somebody else is feeling. There is no way to know for sure. Like, I can think I know you and I can feel for you. And, like, you've been extremely wonderful through the October, and you can imagine how it feels, but you can't. And the issue is that I used to want somebody to be accountable for the loss. Like, you want someone to blame. Whose fault is this? Like, where, did this come from? And so when you learn that everyone's grief is the most important, like, nobody is going to truly understand what you feel. And when you meet those that understand what you feel, hold on to them. And I think that that's where a lot of people resonate with me, because, like, everybody wants to say that they don't like Aunt Stella's green bean casserole, but most people won't say that. I have a really bad habit of, if you could only listen to our unedited podcast, because I just say things with the intention that, listen, you grieve how you want to grieve, but you can't tell my friend Ben how to grieve. And you grieve how you want to grieve, but you can't tell Aunt Stella how to grieve. We can tell Aunt Stella what we want, though, and we don't want her green bean casserole, right?
Yes, absolutely. Stella, keep your green bean casserole,
Stella, wherever she is. She's somewhere.
She knows what she did. Thank you. Thank you so much, Melo. Again, this was, like I told you, this was going to be a 5 or 10 minute interview, and now I've taken up most of your afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you so much. I will see you in a couple days, I'm sure.
No, I think not this week. Next week, yeah.
How dare you?
Yes.
How dare you? I'll see you.
Maybe one more week of vacation.
All right, good. No, you need that.
Yeah,
you need that. All right, please tell Chloe's dad I said hello.
I will. Thank you, and thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
That was Melo Garcia. Please follow her at After Chloe. She is fantastic and such a blessing to everyone in the grief community, in the parent and in the pregnancy and infant loss community. Just a wonderful, wonderful person. That's it for today. Thank you guys for watching Shining Lights. If you know somebody that is making a difference in their community that you would like for us to spotlight, please send me an email or a text or however you can get a hold of me. Comment on this video wherever you're watching it, and we will make sure that happens. Thank you, and we will see you soon.